Welcome to Toss the Titles Down on the Dynasty with myself, your host at Life from the Pen, and with me, as usual, my co-host at F Doormat. How are you today, Matt?
Mate, I'm doing wonderfully well. Long weekend, loving that. Just chilling out, doing a bit of cleaning around the house and whatnot. Excited to have some rookie talk. About 12 days, 11 days out from the draft, so probably should be a bit more in depth with my rookies, but I'm a bit of a late learner. So probably lean on you a bit more, mate, with this draft. Might need you to help me out with a couple of picks. Lean on your large brain. How about you, mate? How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. Just enjoying having the rest up over this little Easter break, and still got another full day off tomorrow, and then another short week. So,
Love that.
Short week, then a short week after that. So yeah, enjoying that. Yeah, but just it's kind of the quiet period at the moment, I guess, in comparison to how it has been between pre-agency and the combine and everything else.
It was a whirlwind, wasn't it? We just hit with massive news drops and trades and contract renewals, retirements, unretirements, and now it's just everything's just settling. I hope the draft's the same. I hope there's people trading up and trading down and all over the shop would be great.
Yep, I think there will be. I think it'll be one of the more active drafts that we've seen in some time. So, I mean, look, we can't say that there's been no news. There's the Dwayne Haskins tragedy, and look, we'll just mention it quickly and then move on. Really sad that he lost his life. He was only 24 years old, about 25. Yeah, tragic. Could happen to anybody on the freeway, I guess, if your car broke down and you got out, and yeah.
Yeah, sounds like just wrong place, wrong time, and this young man who certainly achieved some big dreams, and I think there's that video clip of him going around saying he wanted to play there when he was a young fella, and he achieved that, and he was going on to bigger and better things and trying to become a quarterback in the NFL. So absolutely tragic that happened. So yeah, wrong time, wrong place. You just never know.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he obviously had some talent. Like he beat out Joe Burrow, right? So
yeah, exactly. Heisman, he won the Heisman, didn't he? He won the Heisman. He won the Heisman. 50 touchdowns.
I can't say I remember if he won the Heisman or not.
50 touchdowns. I think you threw right. He was on fire. Yeah. So obviously had all the talent. Just terrible thing to happen. Very sad.
Very sad. So now you've put on our sheet here that you want to talk about a trade. Did you want to talk about that before or after our draft?
Oh, we can do it now. I guess you brought it up. So let's make it in there. So the trade is it's Derrick Henry, Mills, a 23 first and a second, which I think are late on this league. It's a very competitive league. Got a good side, so I think I'll make the playoffs. So I think it should be like a 108 or later. I feel like. So yeah, Derrick Henry, Mills, late first and second for this year's 101. So I was pretty happy to get the trade done, and it wasn't one of those ones where I had to back and forth 100 times. It just added a bit here and added a little bit there, like 2 or 3 back and forth, and it was accepted. I was pretty happy with it. I think I paid it a bit. I whacked it in the calculator. It was over, so I paid a bit over, not tons. But I put it on Twitter, and everyone absolutely just. I think about 200 people voted or something like that. It was a pretty big vote. It was 80% for the Derrick Henry, Mills first and second side. Only 20% of the people went on my side, which is the 101. So look, for me, it was just a reflection of how much people hate this class, even now, even when you see that exceptional talent and what we saw at the combine, and you still got that rookie fever. People are still hating, on this pick. I think last year, if you tried to get that 101, not so much the price, but just the process of getting it would have been, probably several days of back and forth, and people still want to give it up. So I think that's something we can take advantage of. And I think that trade will look a bit different next year. I reckon, Henry could be worth a lot less. I think he's not worth that much now. And maybe that 101, I know it could be, I could make the wrong pick there, but I've got a feeling that, if we polled that in maybe another week or another 12 months, to be a very different result.
I'd be curious to see what happens if you poll it with the player that you end up taking after the NFL draft.
Yeah, but that's what I was planning on doing. That actually, it's a good point. Just once we got the landing spots, once we got the players, and then it could be that the Titans draft an early round running back, right? Then what's Derrick Henry's value then? I guess it just sort of depends on what you think on Mills. I don't really rate him. I don't think he's a long-term quarterback. I think I got him pretty late in that draft anyway. Obviously, that first is going to be pretty valuable. 23 first, even if it's a late one, it's still going to be worth a lot.
I think some people might say, well, I'd take a mid 23 first over the 101.
Yeah, wow.
Which is, I guess, possible, right? And some people might say that Mills is a starting quarterback, so he's automatically worth the first. So it's like you traded another first. I don't really view it like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that Mills is worth a first. Some people might be saying, well, if he's in this draft class, he'd be the quarterback one. Maybe. I don't know. I
wouldn't be drafting him there, let me tell you. But yeah, look, you just don't know, I guess. You have to see again where the landing spots are and whatnot. I was pretty happy with it. I'm still happy with it now. I still feel like it was a good value for me. It gets me turn over my running backs and still cash out one of these older guys and then see where these landing spots come in. I got a feeling that Malik might land in a good spot, and it's a lot of upside there. So I was pretty happy to get that. But I did. He wasn't giving it away, right? I paid a fair bit. So
you definitely paid a fair bit, and I think he hopes to flip Henry, which I think is going to be harder in this league than what he thought, because I think the market for Henry, especially in this league where basically your teams who are going to make the playoffs are almost set, right?
Yeah. Look, I bought him for a first and a second last year, and that turned out to be, the 112 and the 212. And now he's had another full year of tread on the wheels, and he's coming off an injury as well. So for me, it pushes his price down a bit, but you might get someone who values him a bit differently. But yeah, look, if I had him, I'd be trying to flip him as well, which I did.
You've done. I mean, you've moved off him.
It's gone.
All right. So I think you think that the people hate this draft class.
Yeah, I think it's just proof on some people do, and there's something you can take advantage of still now. Like normally, it's hard to get these picks before the draft. Some people just won't sell them right till they're on the clock, which I think that's a mistake. But some people just won't because they want that Godfather offer while they're sitting there on the clock. But yeah, some owners, just that rhetoric that's been going around for so long. It's such a bad class. It's still hanging around. I think it's a good class. It's not the greatest ever, but I still think there's a lot of talent, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just that people don't know who's going to be good.
We're about to find out.
We're about to find out. The players I take in this exercise are going to be stars. That's just the way it works. Right. So we're going to do a Dynasty Superflex rookie mock, just round one. And we are basing this off the latest mock draft over at draftcountdown.com, done by Shane P. Hallam, friend of Toilets to Titles. Right. The latest update is based off the 4th of April, so almost 2 weeks ago now. I know he's got another one coming out in the next couple of days, but alas, we cannot wait. We must power on. All right. So we're going to do it based off this one from the 4th of April. And seeing as you have the 101 in Kraken, in the Kraken Dynasty Fantasy Football League, it's only fair I give you the 101 for this exercise.
Thanks, mate. I like that 101. That's pretty easy. Go give me the easier out. I think you're a bit more up to speed in these rookies, as I mentioned. So looking at this mock, I think for me, if it was to land this way, the player with the most upside, I think with probably, one of the best landing spots. Maybe some people won't like it, but for me, I do. I think it's a great organization. I think they've got a fantastic coach who's very underrated. And, I like the ownership there. I think they've achieved things in the past. So I'll be taking quarterback Malik Willis at the 101. I think, as I mentioned, the upside is just massive, and it's just too much value to pass on. I think if you hit on that pick, that's going to be an absolute steal.
You feel good about him with that organisation too, don't you?
Yeah, look, I think that's the thing. They can just draft wide receivers for fun, right? They've never missed on wide receivers. They've got great leadership, got a great coach, and they seem to have a good bunch of players. If they do draft him, hopefully he does the Trey Lance and sits for a full year, and they can maybe look at rebooting that O-line a little bit and maybe addressing it in the next draft before he starts. Maybe even sits another half a year as well. There's nothing wrong with that. But if he can just deliver, right, like we've seen him in flashes on the highlight tape, his legs are unbelievable, his arms are great. It's just that decision-making and concentrations and those flashes that sort of can be up and down if he can get them under control. Sky's the limit. We've seen what Baltimore did with Lamar Jackson, how they built around him. If someone was to do that around Malik, he could be an absolute out-and-out superstar. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying there's that possibility that he could be, right? That's what we want. Mac Jones is great for real life NFL, but how much upside's he got in fantasy?
All very fair things. And now I'm on the clock with the 102. And I do not like Breece Hall's landing spot in this mock draft.
I'm just trying to find him.
You're trying to find, haven't you? Come on. Breece Hall at 37 overall to the Houston Texans.
Oof.
Yeah. Oof, right?
Mate, that's a bit of a kick in the balls, isn't it? I guess he hasn't got much. Opposition. We got Marlon Mack, and is that about it? Marlon Mack went there, didn't he? I think he went to Houston.
I'll take him at the 102. Obviously, the volume's going to be there in Houston if he goes there, right? With the 37th overall pick. So give me Breece Hall.
Nice. I think he's generational talent. I think he's an absolute value. It's just that landing spot that sort of puts you off a little bit. Let's hope the dice fall a bit different. Maybe Shane's updated his mock to bump him up or down or sideways or somewhere in the next one. But yeah, I love talent. I think sky's the limit for him as well. It's not Superflex. I think he's the 101, and there's that argument that he still could be the 101, right? In Superflex, some of his tape looks special.
Yeah, I mean, he's got all the physical attributes that you want, and he'll be stepping into a really high volume situation. So, who are you going to take? Are we snaking this? We'll just go back and forth, right? It's just still this, yeah?
Yeah, we can just go back and forth. I think that's fine. Yeah. I'm just looking through some of the landing spots here. I'm a big fan of Traylon Burks. I'm not sure that's the greatest landing spot. But I might... I do like that landing spot for Drake London at Green Bay. I think that's a good value. So I'm tempted to go here. Benny, is that too early for Drake London? What are you thinking?
You just do you, my buddy. You do you.
You're supposed to help me out, mate. Help your co-host here. Yeah, look, I've probably got Burks ahead of London. And I do like what Philly are doing. I think trading back those picks are great. It's just that quarterback that worries me, Jalen Hurts. But he's my boy, so let's just smash the button. 103 will go Traylon Burks. He might not be there the following year, Hurts. Even though I do have a few Hurts shares, I'll probably try and move him this year. I hope he's there. But that's the only thing that sort of hurts him is that the quarterback. Just I'm not sure how much he's going to throw it to Traylon Burks. But if he does, he's going to go up and get it. So maybe that's a bit of a match made in heaven. Maybe.
Well, I absolutely love this landing spot, and that is Kenneth Walker to the Buffalo Bills at 57. So I'm going to take him at 104, and I love that landing spot.
I think you could almost at that landing spot. You could almost, almost have him at the 101. I think, if Breece Hall were to go there, forget about it. I think, he's up there in my mind with the top running backs in the class if he gets that landing spot. And I think, look, anywhere he goes, with a good O-line, he'll be fine. I think I'm not really worried about if he lands somewhere else with another strong running back. I think he'll beat out most running backs. But yeah, if he goes to the Bills, right, that's going to go. I guess the only sort of downside with Kenneth Walker going there is maybe Josh Allen steals some goal line touches, but it's a small. We're being nitpicking if we're worrying about that, right? And you're getting someone at the 104. I think that's a good pick.
Yep. I was tempted by wide receivers, but I thought that he was in a tier of his own in the running backs. And there's a couple of wide receivers I'd be happy to have with my next pick, regardless of who you take here. Who I assume is going to be Mr. Drake London.
Yeah, it will be Drake London. I think he's great. I think he can play a number of different spots. I think he's close to the wide receiver one. Him and Burks for me, and that landing spot's great. I think Aaron Rodgers is probably there for a few more years now. It looks like with that trade. So I think that's again, that could be a match made in heaven, right? Let's see what happens. But
Rodgers is essentially year to year at this point. Maybe it could be Jordan Love next year. Okay, all right, but that shit on my boy. Still,
no, I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything, man. I didn't mention him. You don't even mention him. He could be. Yeah, look, I think. I think it's a great landing spot. If Rodgers trusts him, right? We've seen it before where he just doesn't trust some of these young guys. It gets to be like Brady. They drop a ball and they're in the doghouse. So I guess the thing with Drake London is who else is there. He's not going to be throwing to Sammy Watkins that much. I don't think. Anyway, who knows? But
you're not concerned about the fact that he hasn't run.
Look, not really. I think the talent's there. I think that it raised a bit of a flag. I think Trevor Sycamore was saying that too, right, in the podcast a bit earlier. So he did mention that, but I think that landing spot sort of outweighs the question marks.
Yeah, well, it worries me that he didn't run, because he only had to run like a 4.6, and I think everybody would have been like, "Yeah, that's fine." What if he's like a 4.7 plus guy?
Yeah,
that's
that
makes me nervous, right? And he got open with route running and stuff at the college level, but
if he's a 4.7, then the smartest decision he ever made was not to run, right? That RAS score came out, like we saw that with Brevin Jordan last year. He was the tight end 102 for many people, including myself. Everyone loved him, and then he just bombed at the combine. That relative athletic score came out. It was one of the worst ever. He's fine. He's fine on the field, right? But he's probably cost him a couple of draft rounds and a few $1 million. So if that's the case, smart decision not to run. I think he'll be fine, but obviously you'd want him to be a little bit quicker than 4.7. I feel like I could do a 4.7 if it was downhill, maybe.
I think you're
downhill.
Flat, mate. I reckon you're about a 5.5 flat. Best case on a good day, mate.
I think I could take you, Benny.
I didn't say I was faster.
After in bed, mate. Let's get it on there. I'll probably pull a hammy after 10 meters, but
mate. Who runs faster 40? We'll have to catch up at the pub and do it in person.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Now I'm on the clock with the 106, and I'm going to take Jamison Williams, wide receiver, Alabama.
Love it.
I just think that he would be the clear wide receiver one if it wasn't for that injury. So I think this is a serious discount on Jamison Williams, and he'll be back playing by December. So
he's going to the Commanders. That doesn't fill you with a bit of.
No, I don't understand all the Carson Wentz hate. Carson Wentz isn't going to stop Jamison Williams from being a productive NFL wide receiver. If they took Jamison Williams and then you got Terry McLaurin on the other side, go to Samuel in the slot, that might be better than anything he's ever had on offense, right? Antonio Gibson in the backfield. Who's the tight end there in Washington?
Is it Logan Thomas still?
Yeah, Logan Thomas. Yeah. I mean, that might be the best group of skill position players he's ever had.
It would be with Jamison Williams. I think it's a big upgrade from the Colts last year. So yeah, look, I'm with you. I think I said something similar to a couple of weeks ago. If it wasn't for an injury, he'd probably be the number one wide receiver. He's just so quick, right off the football field, and on. I think he's just looks to have a quick mind, great decision making, great burst. Just that injury, probably you get them at a value this late in the draft. So
absolutely,
I like that.
Yeah, and and all of a sudden this draft doesn't look so shallow because there's still a couple of guys.
A few steals,
and it's back to you at 107.
For me, I think, and you got to tell me if I'm reading this wrong, but did I see Chris Olave going to the? I did look Buffalo Bills. They're absolutely killing this draft by Shane Hallam. I hope they don't. As a Pats fan that's got to play them for many years to come, I hope they're not. I don't know. They're doing something else, taking someone else. But I think Chris Olave there is great. I think depending on
Olave at 107.
I think so. I think for him, it was him or a quarterback for me. I like Chris Olave there. I think it's a great organization again, great quarterback. Just not sure when Diggs' contract out is, but probably wouldn't matter too much anyway. I think
it's kind of 4-year extension, right? So it's not for a while.
Yeah, 4-year extension, but sometimes after 2 years, it's easy out these things. But who cares, right? Like you got Higgins and Chase, both. I think they're both wide receiver ones now on ADP in value, right? Well, they're close enough, top 14, both of them. So I think you could possibly get something like that too at Buffalo with the amount of times that Josh Allen throws the ball and the way he throws it. They'll probably be unstoppable, on the offense if they do get great running back and another great wide receiver. Plus they got Crowder's coming in too, which I think that's a sneaky value. So, for fantasy it'd be great, but in real life, they absolutely put the broom through us last year. They just give it to us. Apart from that one game where we ran 6,000 times. But when we're going toe to toe and actually throwing a ball, it was just a bit of a nightmare as a Pats fan. So, it's going to be wheels up for the Buffalo Bills, I think.
Wheels up for the Bills up. So look, I'm going to take another wide receiver who I have to assume is only still available because of his landing spot in this draft. And that is Garrett Wilson, who went number 10. It was actually the first wide receiver off the board to the New York Jets in this exercise by James P. Hallam at draftcountdown.com. He's my wide receiver 3 behind Burks and Jamison Williams. Interesting combination, him and Elijah Moore. They're both quite slight wide receivers, right? And not overly tall. But, Garrett Wilson can play all over the formation, right? He can play anywhere.
I think it's that landing spot, right? Like I don't hate it. It's just the question marks we've got over Zach Wilson. I think he played good towards the end of the year.
Zach Wilson had a great game against the Titans, who had one of the best defenses in the NFL. I'm a Zach Wilson. I believe that he'll come good.
Yeah, he wasn't. You can't write it off yet, but I think that's why you have those question marks, right? It's just that the Jets stink. I think just that old, like they're turned around. I think they're doing great. The players they've drafted and whatnot. It's just that question mark with that organization in the past and with the quarterback. But yeah, like you say, towards the end of the year, he played pretty good for a rookie quarterback. So, hopefully his O-line can stay healthy. Wheels up for the Jets.
Wheels up.
Wheels up.
They have a nice little collection of weapons with Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. It's not terrible.
It's not bad at all. Did Usama go there too, didn't he? I think he went there as well, didn't he?
Sorry?
Did CJ Usama, how do you pronounce his name? The Bengals tight end? Uzoma?
Uzoma.
I'm butchering it. I think he went there too, which is not bad. Good little player. Fun to open a bit. I think he had a bit of an injury, but another outlet for Zach Wilson to have someone to catch the ball. So,
all right, it's back to you at the 109.
109. I feel like I've got to go quarterback here as it sits now.
Mm-hmm.
Things can change a lot the next week or so, but for me now, I think I've got. I like this landing spot, probably not the sexiest landing spot, but I think, again, it's another organization that sort of retooled a bit and seemed to be doing things in the right way. Detroit Lions, I think Matt Corral going to the Detroit Lions there, number 32.
Oh, I thought you were going to make somebody else.
Really?
Corral is my quarterback too.
Yeah, I don't mind, especially at that landing spot. I think it's a toss-up between him and someone who you're possibly going to take next. Or you thought I was going to take next, but yeah, I like that landing spot more than my other quarterback who, I had ahead of him, but I'm just not so sure what that organization is going to look like long term. But yeah, with the Detroit Lions, I think that's a sneaky little landing spot there. That's pretty good. I think they've got a decent O-line in my mind anyway. I don't know what the experts say, but I think they're rebuilding well.
They've got a very good O-line.
Yeah, well, there you go. So.
And if they can get one stud wide receiver, then kind of all their weapons are in the right place. If everybody just gets knocked down, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
About a bunch of teams.
Yeah, I don't mind Matt Corral at all. So I'm pretty happy to get him there. And again, feels like a bit of a steal, doesn't it? Was that 109?
Yeah, 109. And that means at a 110. I'm taking Captain Baby Hands. Kenny Pickett. And look, this is landing spot driven. At the 110, Pickett to the Saints. I think it's a good landing spot. Peyton's gone, but the whole kind of infrastructure that he set up is still there. So I'll take, Pickett, who in this mock draft was the first quarterback off the board, right? At the one point at 16 overall. And so you got to take that at the 110 all day long.
Yeah, for me, I think I've got Pickett slightly ahead of Matt Corral. There or thereabouts. It's funny that I took Corral based on the landing spot at the Lions. But I just think now that Peyton's gone, and it looks like they're sort of kicking that salary cap can down the road, which is probably you want to do, right? They've probably got a bit of a win now roster, maybe. Give it one more shot and then just take a year, eat the cap, and rebuild. So yeah, if Sean Payton was there, it might be a bit different, but he's gone, and I think he just did so much for that organization that all the question marks there for mine. But Mr. Baby Hands, I think they're smaller than Joe Burrow's hands, right? Where I think Joe Burrow put that.
Burrow measured over 9. Yeah. this quarterback class, like what, it's just so landing spot dependent, right? On like if you like a guy, you want him to go to an organization that you think can support him and put the infrastructure around him to enable him to succeed. That's what you want to see, right?
Yeah.
And the Saints of that, Malik Willis, the Pittsburgh Steelers, that, like, you know me, there's not many bigger Malik Willis fans than me, right? I've been on Malik Willis for a while. I'm going to toot my own horn here, but I want to see him go to a good spot, you know. And so, if he went 6 to Carolina, right, I would have a hard time with Willis because I don't trust that staff, that organization at all.
Yeah, I think if he went there, they'd be tempted. Surely they wouldn't, but maybe they would. And I've heard some people say, "Oh, if he starts, he could be in it this year." But surely he can't start this year, or maybe not towards the second half of the year at least. You want him to sit and learn and just know the offense, put him at ease as much as you can. So yeah.
If you had the 101 in the Devy League and Malik Willis was still on the board, would you take him or would you take Quinn Ewers?
I'd probably take Quinn, I think, but I guess you get Malik. Well, you probably take that running back, Bijan Robson. But he's probably gone right. Yeah. Look, I don't know. Do we get to find the landing spot with Malik? Can we wait for 12 days?
Yeah, we do. Yeah. This is my scenario in Will Ferrell, Devy.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And you got to remember that Quinn Ewers would be somebody who'd normally be off the board at this point, right? As the number one quarterback prospect.
Yeah, because he ended that transfer portal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, for a guy who in his second year of college, but because he transferred late, he's not.
Yeah, it's a bit of a wait for him to come out, right? Where Malik, you're getting him straight away. And if you're hitting him, you could probably trade him and hit a gold mine. You're getting those points now. So yeah, landing spot would depend, I think, for me.
He's got the landing spot. He's got the legs right where Ewers isn't going to run like Malik runs.
Yeah, I think that's why you're considering, right? But just he's got that upside both ways. He's got the killer arm, but they can just wake it. But it's those legs too that just gives you that great floor, doesn't it? If you've got someone like Jalen Hurts can do. And I think Malik's a better rusher than him. Maybe not the same passer, but he's a better rusher than Hurts. And then Hurts was the QB1 for like 14 games of the year, right? It was just fell off a bit towards the end, but
and I know Malik was the first quarterback off the board, but and we've gone on a few bits since then. But I just feel like Hurts is Willis's floor. Is that nuts? I really think that.
I think if he gets if he gets it together, it's just those decisions that he makes. If they can overcome those, and it's that shorter accuracy too. If he can, bring that up a bit, maybe play a bit.
Something I think they underestimate in this situation is that there were no other NFL players on his roster, right? There was nobody else going to the NFL playing for Liberty.
Yeah. No, good point. Good point. There's a lot we don't know, right? Which I think that's factored into his price.
I mean, but a lot of people say, "Oh, he had the bad game here against this player and this player, and he didn't play against guys who are going to go to the NFL." We didn't play with guys who are going to go to the NFL, and I just don't think that gets pointed out enough.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of risk there, but there's a lot of upside too. So, I guess it depends if you're a safe fantasy manager and you're just playing the safe game, whatnot. But if you want to hit the jackpot, sometimes you got to risk it to get the biscuit, right?
Risk it for the biscuit.
Yeah.
All right. So I've taken Kenny Pickett at the 1.10. It's back to you at the 1.11.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit of a tear break here. And for me, it's a couple of wide receivers running back and whatnot. You're looking at Rice, looking at Bell. I think all the quarterbacks that I want to take with the landing spot are gone. So I'm probably going to go with Isaiah Spiller to the Falcons. Doesn't feel that good. I feel great about that pick, but it's possibly a decent landing spot. Possibly Falcons. Not going to be much else there, right? Him and Cordell Patterson. That's about it. So for me, I think there's 2 running backs I want in this class, and then after that, it's a big drop off. Pick your poison. If I'm taking one, I'd probably want to take one a little bit later, or trade out of this pick or something. But if I've got to pick one, it's probably Spiller. How do you feel about that pick, Benny?
It feels like a value, right? I mean, this was a guy who was some people's RB1 coming into this whole process. So to get him here at the back of the first round, he's going to a situation where he would get a lot of opportunity. You're looking at that Falcons depth chart, and oh God, I forgot his name.
Cordell Patterson.
Cordell Patterson. How did it leave my brain? The weapons that they've lost, they're going to have to use him more as a pass catcher.
Yeah, it's Pitts and no one really, like.
So I like it. I think it's definitely a value, and I don't know. Like as I just go through this class, like as you spoke about before, people are down on this class, but as I go through this exercise, I feel like I'm liking it more than I thought I would.
I think once the draft comes around, we start seeing those landing spots. I think people will come up on the class. There's no one yet really that's got a terrible landing spot. There's no running back that's landed with the Patriots or with another great running back talent there. So that's the only thing I think that, if someone has a bad landing spot where there's already a talented running back there, that might hurt it a little bit. But yeah, I feel pretty good about it. Like I said before, it's not by any means the greatest draft going around ever, but just the amount of hyperbole about how bad it is just, there's no need for that, because there's just a lot of talent here, and you can get these late round picks pretty cheaply, it feels like.
Yeah, definitely. I think we've been spoiled the last few years with guys like Trevor Lawrence. Last year's class was just,
Fields, Joe Burrow before that, and
Joe Burrow. Yep.
Yeah.
Burrow to Herbert. But I mean, people forget the questions that scouts and the fantasy community had about Herbert, and we kind of just that just leaves our minds. I would say that the people were questioning Herbert's talent, just like my next pick here, who I'm going to take to finish this out at the 112, and I've got to take him. It's Desmond Ridder, quarterback to the Falcons.
I like that. I think I heard someone, I don't know if it was the last Toss the Title episode, but they had him as the QB, the first QB taken. Ridder. I know Nate loves Ridder.
Tampa Bay Trey had him as the quarterback one.
It was thinking, okay, yeah, yep. Nate loves him too, and there is that talk, isn't there? You do hear that chatter about people, really being high on him. For me, I don't know a great deal about him, so I can't really comment. But there is just that chatter, that hype of teams liking him. Sycamus really sold him, so Tampa Bay Trey really talked him up a fair bit, knows his stuff. So if you're getting him at the end of the first, it's not a bad value.
No, not bad at all. And now, like we finished, that's a wrap of round one. We're not going to go in and do a round two, but let's touch on some of the good value players still off the board. The tight end one hasn't gone. Trey McBride, who went in the first round to the Bengals, he hasn't gone. You've got George Pickens. Sam Howell went 46 to the Vikings. Christian Watson, who's been getting a lot of hype lately, he hasn't gone.
Justin Ross still there. Wide receiver taking the first round to the Patriots. Just see John Mechie Was he there to the Pats? I think he's mocked to the Pats. Yeah, you know, it's still a wide receiver taking the first round. Right? I don't like it for the Pats.
The Chief, we didn't take him. He went to the Chiefs at pick 30.
Well, yeah, there you go. So you know, there is still a lot of talent there, isn't there?
Yep. Absolutely. A lot of talent. So, you know, this is a deep draft. You want to have second and third round picks because the whole COVID situation is, it's made this draft deeper.
Even Sky Moore, you know, to the Packers, second round wide receiver to the Packers. That's a good value. You know, I'm not saying he should have been taken earlier, but there's still value there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see. This makes me excited for the actual NFL draft and where the real landing spots are going to be. Right, and it just makes you think. Like, don't like. I got a trade the other day, and Hayden Hurst. I like Hayden Hurst's landing spot in the Bengals. This guy wanted Hurst, so I didn't do the trade. And now I'm thinking, like, what if they do take Trey McBride in round one? That nukes his value. So just for clarity's sake, this is a 2 tight end league. Start 2 tight end league. So, yeah.
What was the trade? Hayden Hurst for was it late first or early second, was it?
It was Antonio Gibson.
Yeah.
Cole Kmet, Hayden Hurst for the 102.
Oof. I know you love Gibson. It depends who's going to get that 101, I guess.
But this is cracking. This is a 2 tight end league. So Cole Kmet is worth like a first.
Well, I know he's going at 101. So right now,
you've already decided, mate, have you?
Well, you know, it depends on landing spot. You know, I got my inklings, but it changes everything, doesn't it? Landing spot changes everything. I think when you're tossing the coin, really 101, 102 some drafts. So for me, landing spot will come down to it. But you know, what happens if Brees Hall lands where Gibson is, or someone, or Walker? You know, that's going to tank his value. I think they were going to trade McKissick outright, so it looked good for a little while, and then he's coming back. So a few question marks there. But yeah, that 102, that's not bad. Cole Kmet, Hayden Hurst.
I just think Cole Kmet breaking out this year.
Yeah,
they're just so valuable in that league, right? You need to start 2 every week.
Yeah, you got him or you haven't got him. You know, I had a few offers for got it, and I'm like, there's no way I'm selling him without a tight end back. Like, you got to give me a ton back unless I've got a startable tight end, especially if you got a young one, right? Like Cole Kmet, with Justin Fields throwing in the ball, you know, you could be locked in there for the next 10 years with a tight end one, and it's not saying much to have a tight end one normally, but in this league, it's pretty important. If you got 2 tight end ones, it's a big advantage, right? Like if you got a good tight end in the league, it's a bit of an advantage. But if you got 2 that you can start week in, week out,
and it's a bit of FOMO, right? You don't want to sell a tight end and then see him like turn into something like more.
Yeah, I think thinking that league, I sold Mark Andrews. I think I got a first and a second, and you know, it turned out pretty good. I won the league, but ever since I sold him, I'm trying to get him back just because that was sort of before he broke out, and I think he's probably worth double that now, right? Like you probably need a couple of firsts to get him. So you're right. It's if you do sell a young tight end, you do want your weight back in gold or someone else with a bit of upside back. So I guess you're getting that in that 1 or 2, but it's a lot to give up. Gibson as well, and not Hayden Hurst so much, but you're getting Gibson as well, right? So.
But I just feel like even in this league, like Hurst could catch 50 balls for 600 yards, and then in this league, that's an every week starter.
He could, right? Like there's no other competition there now, is there really? know who their other tight ends are, but everything Burrow's touched is turning gold. So
yeah, but then if they take Trey McBride, it's all over.
There's going to be a little bit of pain, isn't there, on these landing spots? There's going to be some happy people and some sad people,
There's going to be guys that we think are great right now and are wheels up for next season who are going to get nuked by the draft.
Yeah, it happens every year, right? So watch this space. I guess that's a good thing about if you've got Rams players, right? They're pretty safe because they've got no draft picks. So
yep.
Maybe that's the strategy we should do in our startup. Betting just Rams all day.
Well, before we wrap it up, is there any player that you think that we missed on? Who would be your next player off the board, just for curiosity's sake?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure if I can name off the top of my head. There's a bunch of them though. I do those wide receivers we spoke about: Pickens, Justin Ross, Sky Moore. Going to Green Bay, I think that's some good value there. Even Ridder to the Falcons. It might even be Ridder to the Falcons, really. That's a pretty good landing spot there. He's pretty safe.
But I took him.
Yeah. Oh, you took him 112, did you? Well, there you go. I thought he wasn't gone. Okay, well, there you go. So, yeah, probably Pickens, I guess.
Not Dotson. I meant the round one receiver who went to Kansas City.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I got burned a little bit by Giants wide receiver one who they take, Kadarius Toney. I loved him coming out, so flashy and brilliant, and just some injuries. I thought he'd be fine, but
he did more than what other people thought he would do, though.
Yeah, look, I hope he builds on it. He's got all talent in the world. I think probably not the best landing spot. That O-line and the quarterback, but it's a good organization, right? Some smart owners there again. Giants are a pretty savvy organization, so maybe they can get the best out of him. Who were you going to go, mate? If you had the 113,
probably Pickens. I love George Pickens.
Yeah,
it'd be hard to leave a wide receiver attached to Pat Mahomes on the board, but I got to think for George Pickens.
Yeah, I like him too. I think he's talented. So if he does go there, I don't think he gets out of the first round. Probably in a real draft, I think.
He walks in the door then as a wide receiver one.
Yeah.
Almost.
Again, it's that injury too. That's probably, he looked pretty good. Those numbers coming back from that injury. That's pretty impressive. His combo numbers, so maybe that's why he's
probably not putting enough respect on Darnell Mooney's name there with that comment that Pickens walks in the door as a wide receiver one. I need to put a bit more respect on Darnell Mooney's name.
There's going to be some upset truthers out there. I've never been a massive. I mean, he's talented, but it's never been a truth to myself. But there's a bunch of them, right? So I'm glad you walked that back.
Yeah. All right. Well then, look, let's wrap it up and go off and enjoy our Easter Sunday dinner and the public holiday tomorrow, man.
Love that short week, and then Anzac Day coming up. It's great. And before you know it, it's draft. Draft day is going to be here.
Yeah. Draft day is going to be here. I'm really looking forward to that first 5-day week back at work.
Can't wait. Just can't wait to get back. That's a good thing about nowadays. You can just work around the clock, mate. You don't have to go back to work. You can jump on tonight, right? You probably got your laptop, your phone, and everything there, and working from home. You don't have to go to the office. You never have to stop any.
Do it right now. Just go for it.
You're workaholic, just me, mate. I can tell.
Peace out, everybody.
Yeah.